How moral are you today? I'm not here to judge. Well, actually, I am. I quite like judging. Every Monday, we have a section called Moral Maze. We talk about issues of life and sexuality and censorship and all that sort of thing. Fun. And a lot of the issues that maybe don't constitute an entire segment on their own, but they need to be addressed. And I've said this before, largely because the other networks won't. They'll pretend that they don't exist at all. And we alternate people who come on. And Alyssa Globe from Campaign Life is here this week, and she's very well. And let's begin with my MPP, Sherry DeNovo, in Parkdale High Park. I rather like her. She used to be a United Church minister, so, you know, she doesn't believe in God or Christianity or anything. No, she's a nice enough woman, but this is censorship. She's trying to, have someone silenced because they disagree with her? Yeah, well, I mean, the FCP, the Family Coalition Party, was exercising their democratic right and freedom of speech, to pamphlet her riding because she sponsored, as you know, Bill 33, the bathroom bill as it's pegged, which did pass. And they basically had a placard of a stick figure of a man peering over the bathroom stall and a little girl on the other end saying, repeal the bathroom bill. And they delivered 2,500 postcards, and Sherry DeNovo threatened to sue, say that it was a huge hate crime against the transgender community. Transphobic and hateful piece of literature. I mean, there's nothing worse than transphobia. Oh, exactly. So they said that it's not trying to target the transgender community, obviously. It's just trying to, to publicize those who may abuse this bill in perversive ways, like peering over or, entering into women's
and who are we going to say that, who's to say that they won't do that?
Yeah, exactly. And Toronto District School Board recently made an announcement that anyone who was transgender, any student or staff who is transgender can use any bathroom that they like.
I'm just looking at the picture now on the screen, and I have to admire the agility of the trans person because, he, she, is climbing quite high, and the poor little girl in was that pigtails or ponytails?
Pigtails.
I always get them wrong,
Ponytails won.
I'm sorry. Look at me getting it wrong again. So, Sherry DeNovo doesn't like this. The solution is to say, I don't like this, and rip it up if you see it. But she wants to sue people. She proposes a radical piece of legislation that changes the nature, really, of how we're allowed to live. And when someone opposes it, they should be silenced and sued.
Yeah, exactly. And she even said this is going to change, the nature of Ontario and how we view this, this type of behavior. But it makes me, as a woman, and I'm very uncomfortable to think that these men can just use these washrooms whenever they please, let alone like my little siblings. So.
And you can't challenge because you can imagine someone, people running a pub or a restaurant, the last thing you want to do is get into some legal difficulties. They're barely making a living. If they say to a guy, a heavily bearded guy, excuse me, that's a woman's washroom. If he says, I'm a woman, if they say, no, you're not, they could be in real trouble because surgery is not even the issue now. It's what do you feel? I feel like a woman today.
It doesn't matter how you're born, it's how you feel. That's exactly what it says.
I often feel like a bacon sandwich, which is rather problematic in a way. Robin Tomlin gets apology for gay slur in yearbook 42 years ago.
Yes, this one is quite hilarious. I plan on doing the same to my high school. I mean, I went to a public high school, and people often made fun of me because I was Christian or opinionated or pro-life. So I plan on, going back for an apology maybe in like 40 years.
I mean, he's now retired and ailing. I'm sorry and all that. But he finally got an apology for yearbook slur, which included the word fag, apparently. Well, it shouldn't have. But we've moved on from that. Thank goodness. We don't use those words generally. But that was 42 years ago. What year was that? I'm trying to work it out. A long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, in a sense, good for him for,
Is it though?
In a sense, like if you're really that offended and you're going to hold on to a grudge and maybe stand up for, what you believe in, then I guess. But I mean, to hold a grudge for that long, and obviously it had nothing to do with the school. It wasn't the school, and the school's the one who issued the apology. It was a bunch of dumb students who were on the yearbook committee.
Kids say dumb things about each other. 42 years ago, the N-word was routinely used. Black people were treated like animals. They were castrated if they ran away. They were owned by gay people, amongst others. I mean, gay people were slave owners. They're not asking for 42 years ago, can you apologize, please? But this guy gets it because you know why. If you mention the gay issue, and I'm offended, the school, of course, apologized.
Yeah, if it said fatty or nerd and somebody brought this up, he'd be laughed at.
Of course.
But because it was fag, then it's a huge story in the media.
And I mean, word was wrong, shouldn't have been used, but I think we've probably grown up, or maybe some people haven't grown up. Allowing assisted suicide too risky, says the federal government. My golly, a good decision here.
I know. When I was reading it, I was applying everything that the federal government was saying to abortion, and it made all sense. But basically what they're saying is that they're making an appeal on the BC Supreme Court decision, saying that it was already decided in the Rodriguez case to not allow physician-assisted suicide. Obviously, if you do allow it, then elderly who might be coerced or depressed might make the wrong decision. They cited the Oregon case, I believe, where 46% of people who are going to be to undergo physician-assisted suicide retracted that because of pain-relieving medicine or other reasons. So, this is a good decision for the federal government to do, to appeal this case. And I mean, this was decided even, in 2010 when Francine Lalonde brought up her bill, and it got completely slaughtered.
Hey, what is it with her? Why is she obsessed with killing elderly and people?
I don't know, but I would not want to be known as that type of member of
And if you've got a bad headache or a cold, do not ask this woman to your house, because I tell you... We need to clarify this. This is not... No one should be living in pain, and we can control pretty much all pain if we put enough investment and money into pain medication and end-of-life care and so on. And it's not saying that we will not allow people to die. You can not artificially maintain a life. That's not euthanasia. This is direct intervention to end a life, or saying you're not going to get any water at all and you'll die a horrible death. And if you say to a doctor, and the first thing a doctor says is do no harm. If you say to a doctor, you're now in the business of killing people too, you change the whole relationship between doctor and patient.
Well, I mean, isn't that what abortionists do, or doctors who give birth to babies and then right next door kill them?
I agree.
I mean, it's a slippery slope. It's what's already happening, and with the euthanasia and doctor-assisted suicide, it only becomes much worse.
And when, as much as animal lover as I am, when animals are euthanized and people find out about it, they get very upset, and there's lots of campaigns and people crying on TV. When it happens to human beings who could be saved, then it's, wow, it's whatever.
Yeah. And it's sad to read these stories. Like I was reading one when I was looking this up, where this lady, there was 20, doctors and nurses in her room because she didn't want to die alone. Well, wouldn't it have been better if she had died with her family naturally, all by her side, instead of this physician-assisted suicide where, she was with all these people she didn't know? It just breaks your heart.
And what a story. If there were that many people with her, they couldn't care for her. And as always, a great pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.